Margaret Koolman here of Soul Astrology. The first thing that strikes me about this new moon chart is that the Sun and Moon at 4 degrees Libra are within an exact right angle to Pluto in Capricorn, which suggests we'll be face into any difficulty that our desire for harmony and peace gives us when we're faced with circumstances. This month I think we will be facing the absolute need for change, and it may seem sometimes as though we cannot maintain comfortableness or harmony or enjoyment in our relationships if we are to knuckle down to what requires doing. Because with the connection between the new moon and Mars in Leo, our drive is likely to be towards enjoyment, being ourselves as we know ourselves to be so far, hanging on to old identity in a way. Mercury also is involved in this new moon, very close to the moon and sun, so our thoughts and communication will be about those relationships that give us pleasure and the enjoyment of socializing. The beautiful thing about this particular grouping is that Mars also makes a connection to Pluto, but it's not that direct endeavour to adjust to a paradox. It's the ability to apply our positivity towards making the changes. And once again, like every month for the last couple of years probably, I've been saying it's when we work together, when we work for mutual benefit, that we can harvest the joy that is there. Mercury is exactly opposite Uranus in this chart, both at 2 degrees of their sign, which suggests that communication will be most valuable when we can refrain from it from time to time. It's like stepping back before replying, pausing before allowing the next statement out. And in that pause, the gift of Uranus is inspiration. A stepping back with a question and empty mind for a moment allows us to see with clarity what's really there, what we really need. It has a lovely relationship, the blue line, to Mars, so it's stepping back with a positive look, an attitude that win-win is possible. Jupiter at right angles to Mars, with a harmonious relationship with Pluto, brings in perhaps a sense that we should be able to achieve more than is actually practical. So perhaps this month is more about considering how we might make things better, how we might adjust to the changes that are going on, rather than practically expecting to complete them. Maybe making inroads on what's necessary to do, but not expecting final results. When Jupiter gets involved in a pattern, we often have a sense of wanting to promise as much as we feel in that moment we could do. But it's important to recognise our own natural limitations, the limitation of time and energy, and not to make promises that would be painful to fulfil. It's as though everything's up for discussion, which is a good setting for Libra, where all sides of any situation have an airing, and Libra listens and considers them all, waiting patiently for the right thing to become clear and apparent. Libra's way of making decisions is to glean as much information as possible in any situation and feel what would be the appropriate, the kindest, the most respectful outcome, and move in that direction. It's not just following the way the wind blows, because the movement when it comes is considered and decided. But it tends to take longer than Aries energy would like it to. So with Uranus opposite to Mercury, there could be flashes of irritation, angry statements, brusque styles. It's important then that in any discussion happening this month, that we work hard not to take things too personally, that having taken something personally, we then pause and consider what was being said if you take that personal bit out. Because often the frustration that rises is because the truth is being missed, that something for the sake of harmony is being fudged. There will be truth quite often in those irritated responses. Truth not meant to hurt, but to reveal the necessary ground from which we can move. Interestingly, Venus, which is the planet relating to relationship, is very close to Saturn in this chart, and will move over Saturn in the first few days of the month. Not connecting to anything else, so a background flavour of relationship. Sometimes that can feel like limiting, sad, or reluctant, anxious in relationship. But on a practical level, and bearing in mind the rest of what this chart's about, it could be the ability to be patient, to stand back, to wait for the correct movement or statement to come forward. The best use, I think, of Saturn and Venus together is the recognition of the wisdom within one's experience and within other people's experience. In Libra, it is about recognizing that everyone has their own experience and therefore their own expertise. On the 9th of October, Venus moves into Scorpio, so that any difficulty that arises before that, with the Saturn close to Venus, any hurts there will be revealed during the coming month. It doesn't reach Sagittarius until the 2nd of November, so the rest of October from the 9th onwards has that perhaps awareness of the deeper layers of our relating. Maybe old stuff does get reworked. Makes it a good month for discussing things rather than actually going ahead and doing them. As long as we can leave our resentments behind, learn what we can from what is said, and remain in discussion, talking to each other, it could be an extremely healing month. The contemplation follows. Relax and breathe for a while, eyes closed. Allow a sense of warmth and love to gather around your back and shoulders. Allow yourself to absorb this gentle support, letting the tears flow if they will, and the smile to spread. Because before you can properly hold and love another, you need to feel the holding and the love for your own self. Rest into that support as into a buoyant ocean, soft and caressing, lapping around your limbs. Now allow your life to rise in front of you as though on a screen, and let it be what it is, so you can discover how to be what you are in relationship to reality. And the next step of your experience will unfold timely out of the unknown that is ahead of us all.